If you don't master these 6 fundamental principles of piano playing, you risk stretching your learning journey into years full of frustration or, worse, giving up on piano altogether. The 6th principle is one that almost every adult beginner overlooks without even noticing it. But statistically, 1% of people master all 6 from the start, using a clever approach to effortlessly learn a few songs each week. I'm serious, people like that accomplish in just 2 months what most people take 3 years to accomplish. I'm still confused about that. But an important warning, these principles won't bring results unless you scrupulously follow each step in the sequence. Now, let's put your skills to the test. If you're clever, you might be wondering, can I understand the notes of a melody? Good news, answering that question will be easier if you can pass the famous CDE piano challenge. Passing this test indicates you have the potential to rank among the top 1% of beginners, unlocking the ability to learn songs in mere minutes. For this challenge, we'll use only the notes C, D, and E, labeled as 1, 2, and 3 for simplicity. Your task is to identify the pattern I play without peeking. For example, if I play a sequence, the correct answer might be 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. Let's hide my hands and try to discern these 6 notes. Ready? Here it is again. The correct sequence was 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. These are only the initial 3 notes, but a proven system of exercises helps you master these, then expand to 5 notes, 7, and beyond until you command the entire keyboard. It's surprisingly straightforward. This next concept will astonish you, as once you internalize this framework, your perspective on music will transform forever. To illustrate, recall how you learned to read. Young children painstakingly sound out each letter, slow, and reading a book takes an eternity. Now consider how you read today. You recognize entire words at a glance, not individual letters, enabling you to read exponentially faster. See, spot, run. Simple. Music operates identically. 9 out of 10 beginners view notes and read them like a kindergartner, one by one. Instead, you can recognize that a group of notes forms a E-B major chord, simplifying each cluster into a distinct chord shape. This realization was a game changer for me, as I discovered that most popular songs rely on just 4 chords that repeat endlessly. Now that you're beginning to connect chords with melody patterns, you're closer than ever to playing full songs effortlessly, just like the 1% of learners who master this fast-track path. However, there's a critical error 98% of beginners make, likely you too, without realizing it. This mistake makes you sound novice, even if you hit the right notes. Examine your hand for a moment. What stands out about your fingers? The 3 middle fingers are similar in length, but the pinky is significantly shorter. As a result, most beginners produce a feeble, weak sound when playing with their pinky. I call it weak pinky syndrome. It makes you sound amateurish, and people might secretly chuckle instead of being impressed. Many novices mistakenly believe they need exercises to strengthen their pinky, but that's incorrect. It's not about strength, it's about technique, fixable in about 2 minutes with the over-under method. Here's how it works. With a standard hand position, reaching a note with my pinky requires straightening it, weakening the sound. If I curve my pinky, I might miss the key entirely. Compare these 2 examples and spot the difference in motion. In the second example, when I play toward my pinky, I rotate my wrist downward and outward, creating a strong, curved pinky shape to strike the note accurately. Build this habit every time you use your pinky, as ingrained bad habits can become a nightmare to correct later. By the way, there are other simple hand movements that can instantly improve various aspects of your game. I will talk about this in more detail in my next videos. However, none of this will succeed unless you adhere to the 4th principle, the SIP rule. This was championed by the renowned composer Franz Liszt in the 1800s, who required all his students to follow it. Scientific studies show it takes 4 times longer to unlearn a bad habit than to develop a good one from the start. Why do you think it takes novices so long to learn piano songs? Many assume it's because mastering all the notes is time-consuming, but in truth, learning notes doesn't take long if you practice with perfect accuracy from the beginning. The hidden issue is that most beginners squander time practicing incorrect notes, then unlearning and correcting them later. This can be easily avoided by following the SIP test, a simple but powerful framework for fast, frustration-free progress. Most beginners unknowingly skip one of these 3 steps, especially the last one. The S stands for slow. Practice at a speed so slow that every note is correct from the very first attempt. Precision first, speed later. The I is for isolated practice. Instead of jumping in with both hands, isolate them. Get your left hand solid, then your right, until each is automatic. Quick tip. Starting with the left hand builds a strong rhythmic foundation. Why do you think that is? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Finally, the P is for pieces, but not full ones. Break the music into small, digestible chunks. I sometimes drill just 2 to 4 notes at a time, especially when a passage is tough. Mastering micropieces avoids the need to unlearn mistakes later when you stitch everything together.
The fifth principle is the Swiss Army knife approach, a versatile yet subtle trick that accelerates learning songs dramatically. Oddly, you learn less to achieve more. Consider a Swiss Army knife with its 17 tools. How many do you actually use regularly? For me, just the scissors and bottle opener, never even the knife itself. Similarly, imagine a daunting list of chords. Trying to memorize them all is overwhelming, but 80% of these chords are rarely used in your lifetime, while 20% appear in nearly every popular song. My analytical side studied 563 songs and identified 6 golden chords used far more frequently. Mastering just these 6 enables you to play 84% of popular songs, no exaggeration. You can then progress to the silver chords used less often and the bronze chords used even less. Ever visited a dueling piano bar where performers seem to magically play any requested song? They rely on these golden chords, paired with the most potent principle we'll cover in the 6th step. The 6th and most powerful principle ties everything together into a step-by-step method to learn hundreds of songs at lightning speed. The secret most people miss is that countless radio hits share the same chords in the same order, allowing you to essentially copy and paste from one song to another. One progression, known as the legendary 4-chord progression, popularized by artists like Katy Perry, Ed Sheeran, and Adele, among others, will allow you to learn hundreds of songs with one chord progression. If you want to learn more about it, let us know in the comments.